We are live at Mother Earth News Fair. Yay! And this workshop was sold out. Thank you for coming. I am so pleased to be here. We're actually doing Facebook Live for people that couldn't come to the fair and also people that couldn't get into this room. I must have run into 20 people out in the hallway and at my booth saying, we couldn't get into your talk because it was sold out. So we're going to record it so that everybody gets this information. I am Janet McKee, wellness expert, speaker, author, founder of Sauna View. Sauna is Latin for health and wellness. So we provide a view into how to live healthier, happier, more energized, positive, motivated, productive, fabulous life. How does that sound? Anybody interested in that?
I'm riding your train. Go ahead.
I am passionate about inspiring and teaching people to improve their lives. I want you to know that it's possible, and it's so simple. I want everyone to know that your life can be fabulous, starting right here, right now. You can feel better, physically, emotionally, have more energy, vitality, positivity. Trust me, I have been in the worst condition. Many years ago, diagnosed with very serious autoimmune disease. Doctors had no hope for me. I was in the hospital, couldn't walk, couldn't eat. Doctors gave me options that were dreadful, including medications that caused cancer, or they wanted to remove my organs. MBA, corporate world, high pressure, high powered job, and landed in the hospital with an illness I didn't understand, couldn't control, had no hope. Something came over me and said no to that doctor. I'm not taking any of those options. And I got myself out of the hospital and learned how to heal my body naturally. At 52 years old, I had absolutely no illness whatsoever, no medication whatsoever, and years ago they told me it was impossible. Okay, so I've learned, I've then changed careers, went to Columbia, studied holistic health. I've been teaching people for over 20 years how to improve their physical well-being through food and lifestyle choices, common sense things. And also I found that when we improve the way we treat our bodies, the way we live, our emotional well-being improves as well. So I'm going along in life, having all these crazy, incredible results with people, reversing terminal cancers, diabetes type 2, autoimmune disease, heart disease, you name it, right? And I'm moving along with my life. Next thing I know it, wham. Husband walks out on me in an hour's notice, and a week later in Hawaii with a girlfriend. So what happened to all my positive thinking, right? Spent a year. Depressed, fearful, all that. That's when I discovered the final piece. Everything happens for a reason in your life. Did you ever realize that? Everything happens for a reason. Every challenge is a gift. If you could just learn to look at your challenges and say, what is it telling me? What is it teaching me? And when you can look back at your challenges and say, that is how I benefited, thank you for that challenge in life. Then your life just starts to go and go and go in the most incredible direction. And this is what I teach. And if everyone would be so kind, we don't spam you, to please sign my mailing list. I'm going to send you for free my newest, a series of videos that are part of my newest online course called The Triumphant Life of Abundance. Abundance of health, abundance of love, abundance of happiness and joy, abundance of wealth. People are afraid of that. There's nothing wrong with having abundance in your life, because the more you have to give. The more joy you have, the more you have to give. The more money you have, the more you have to give. So don't be afraid of wanting more in your life. We're here today to talk about energy, health, well-being. You know, we'll pass these down both sides. And you're like, wait a minute, we're here to talk about sprouts, Janet, and micrograss and wheatgrass. Wait, microgreens and wheatgrass. Okay? And we are, because this is the key to the most nutritious, healthiest food you could ever put in your body. It's the simplest thing to grow on your kitchen countertop any day of the year, even in the middle of the winter. And it costs you pennies and it takes you seconds. Can we take questions at the end? Go ahead. I'll never get it all done. Oh, okay. Then put your address or whatever and we'll figure out how to get it to you. Okay, so let me give you a little bit more about our farm and so forth. That's me, Jenna McKee, wellness expert. So I've been teaching people for years about living a healthier life, and I got this inspiration about owning a farm and growing organic food, because this is what we're talking about, getting back to nature, eating foods that are grown naturally. That's why you're all here. You all know this, right? So that's our farm. We're just a few miles down the road, and we have a wonderful place. We actually even teach workshops and do other things. We're very small, organic production. We're 52 acres, but we just produce in a few acres because it takes a lot of work. And as a matter of fact, in the back, Shane, now raise your hand, is a new addition. She's going to be running the gardens at our farm going forward. So let's look at this. You understand where we're coming from and why we're growing sprouts. Okay? Food is fundamental to the health of ourselves and our environment. Okay, do you realize that the choices you make on what you do here also affects the environment? And when it affects the environment, that can come back and affect your health, right? So if you're choosing a lot of conventionally grown food, GMO, right, all that stuff, that's affecting the environment. That environment affects our health. So everything's circular. And it's very interesting. And that's a quote from Managing Director of Harvard School of Public Health. And let's look at the second quote. Chronic disease is an epidemic associated with unhealthy eating. And if we don't change, this will continue to grow out of control, and the healthcare industry will not be able to handle the burden of disease. You all know this, right? Okay. Look at the title of that person. Managing Director of Healthcare Without Harm. Fascinating. So what are we talking about? This is what people are eating. This isn't food. There's a bunch of chemicals and packages, right? Our children today, right? We have highest rates of obesity, diabetes amongst our children. It used to be called adult onset diabetes. It's not called that anymore because it's prevalent amongst our children. That's a disgrace. Do you know, I work with a series of medical doctors on a national basis that really look at food and lifestyle and how it affects our physical and emotional well-being. And they told me that when they have to operate on a child as young as 10 years old, for some other reason, they're already finding clogged arteries. By the time you graduate from high school, if you eat the standard American diet, you already have the beginning of developing heart disease. It's ridiculous because we're not eating real food anymore. This is what we're eating. So we've got this quote, Wendell Berry. We lose our health and create profitable disease and dependencies by failing to see the direct connections between living and eating, eating and working, working and loving. In gardening, for instance, one works with the body to feed the body. The work, if it is knowledgeable, makes for excellent food, and it makes one hungry. The work, thus, makes eating both nourishing and joyful, not consumptive, and keeps the eater from getting fat and weak. This is health, wholeness, and the source of delight. So we ask ourselves, is this natural? This is the solution, by the way, right? Healthy eating, healthy living is a picture, but we don't really know if it's natural. We don't know if it's grown organic or conventional, right? We don't know, is it GMO or is it Mother Nature? So I'm going along with my life, doing this holistic health, teaching people to live a healthier life, and I got this inspiration to want to own a farm. And people are like, are you crazy? You want to do farming? And I didn't know where it all came from until I realized where it came from. It was in my blood. My father, growing up, used to tell me he grew up in a very poor farm town. Have you guys heard me speak before, some of you? Because I've told the story before. Okay, one of you. Good. The rest of you are new. So growing up, right, we were so poor. We lived off the land. We had to grow our own food. It was such a struggle. I kept hearing that growing up. Well, as a young adult, I got to visit this poor farm town. And he wasn't poor at all. These people were beautiful. They grew their own food. They helped each other. They lived off the land. Everything was grown naturally. They were outside working, breathing fresh air. And not to mention the view from the top of the mountain was worth $1 million. This is from his town. So this poor farm town, I didn't see poor. I saw rich. And what's interesting is just last year, a report came out about this little poor farm town. This little town is so small, it's hardly even on any maps of Italy. And they called this town Felice, which means happy. They found that these people are some of the happiest people they have found in the whole country. So think about that, right? Living naturally, eating foods naturally grown, living off the land, physical and emotional health. That's actually my Nana, who is a picture of her in her home in Italy. She's sewing. She wrote a little memoirs of her life called Such Is Life. And as a matter of fact, at our booth at 2007 here at Mother Earth News Fair, we have 3 things we're offering that are actually her recipes. And one is famous, I'm famous for, my Nana's heirloom tomato sauce. So if you have any desire to try, please come to our booth and purchase a jar of the sauce. She taught me, growing up, I was never taught Italian. She never learned English, and so we would spend time together cooking in the kitchen. That's how we would communicate. And so she taught me her sauce. And it's very different. It has a light, fresh flavor. It's not like a heavy cooked sauce. And also we put up peppers, and we call them Nana's peppers, because my father and I did, because it's the way she taught us how to do it. But Sunday, tomorrow I'm teaching another workshop on eating healing foods from your garden all year. And Sunday I'm teaching how to grow your own early heirloom tomatoes. And it's secrets from our farm. We harvest tomatoes at the end of June, where other farms in this area have to wait till August. So there's our farm. Some of you are roaring our farm. And we've got some pictures there of the fields. That's the old barn and bunkhouse. But of course we had these wonderful Amish carpenters come and renovate everything. It's a historic landmark, so everything I have to do is based on historic significance. The house is actually a log cabin, and we're little by little restoring it to the log cabin look. The entire farm is fed by spring water. We put in a 2,000-gallon holding tank, and it goes through the basement of our spring house through multiple filters, and one's a UV filter. We use no chemicals at our farm. So the entire farm is fed by spring water that's filtered. I actually haul the farm back, the water back to Pittsburgh, where I live, to drink it. Picture of our barn, our bunkhouse and spring house. We do rent out our cabins for people to come and stay. And since it was costing more for us to grow organic produce than we were making selling it, has anyone been there? Okay, very difficult, hard job to grow organic produce commercially. I have new respect for the organic farmer, that now people have asked us through word of mouth to have weddings at our beautiful farm, and that's actually paying for the produce. Thank goodness. Every challenge has a gift in it. There's our fields. There's a stream and a pond in the back of the farm. Wildflowers and wild strawberries grow. The previous owner did have some grapes and some apple trees. We have rescued honeybees at our farm, and there's one of our gardens, and there's our farm manager, Kevin, and just kind of neat things. We grow a lot of greens and lettuce and squash, and there's a baby fennel. Has anyone ever heard of my mind just went blank on what these are called. Does anybody know? No. It'll come to me. Ground cherries. Thank you, sir. Woo! My mind went completely blank. My mind's already on microgreens and wheatgrass. We do heirloom tomatoes, and that's what we're going to talk about on Sunday, and that's what my Nana's tomato sauce is made with. So those are sunset bumblebee. I think they're actually sunrise bumblebee, have their own name. And we've got Cherokee purple, indigo apple, and some of them come out shaped like a heart because we grow our food with love. And we did Lady Godiva pumpkins. Have you ever had the green pumpkin seeds? They're pepitas. You get them from the health food store. Those are complete protein, by the way. We grow the Lady Godiva pumpkins sometimes and harvest the seeds. So there are microgreens. We are known for our microgreens and our wheatgrass from the farm. And all of the local chefs really go wild over how we do it. And so we're going to teach you our secrets today of how we do our microgreens, wheatgrass, and of course sprouts you can do on your kitchen countertop at home. So this is what I am all about here. This is an ancient writing by the Vedas. It's the oldest written language known to man. I am the immeasurable potential of all that was, is, and will be. And my desires are like seeds left in the ground. They wait for the right season and then spontaneously manifest into beautiful flowers and mighty trees, into enchanted gardens and majestic forests. That speaks to me incredibly well. So, why on earth would you want to grow sprouts? And so many people say to me, Janet, I cannot eat I cannot find fresh organic produce locally in the winter. It's too expensive and it's coming from Ecuador. And I say false. Because you can actually grow the most nourishing, the most powerful nutrition right on your kitchen countertop every day of the year, especially in the middle of the winter. It costs you pennies and it takes you a few seconds a day. Can everyone handle that? The most powerful nutrition. This is something you're going to grow in a jar on your countertop that's 20 to 40 times more nutritious than any grown vegetable you pick out of your garden in the middle of the summer. There are places like Hippocrates Health Institute where at their cafe, 75% of your meal is a variety of sprouts. And that is a place that I know the doctors, we work together, they help people heal from cancer and all kinds of serious illnesses. So what's going on? They're giving their body the most incredible nourishment, but there's something else beyond that. Has anyone here ever heard of raw foods? Okay. That's a really strange thing, right? Those weird raw foodists. Oh my goodness. Has anyone here ever eaten an apple? You're a raw foodist. You're a freak. No. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. Just eat something fresh, uncooked. Why? Because studies have shown. We used to see this anecdotally. We used to see people recover from the most terminal cancers and all kinds of horrible illnesses, like my autoimmune. I almost didn't make it out of the hospital when they did high raw diet. But we didn't know why exactly. Well, guess what? Scientific research has come out and shown why. Because you get more antioxidants, more phytonutrients, enzymes that don't exist if you cook your food. So you're getting them a greater amounts than, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with cooked food. I'm not saying become 100% raw foodist. The doctors I work with that promote raw foods, they say if you can go 80% raw, over 2 years, your body's going to heal from whatever you're dealing with. Because we're taking in this powerful nutrition. Well, guess what sprouts are? They're not only raw, they're living. And they're a miracle of nature. So what we're doing with sprouts, we're actually going to soak the seeds in water. And they're going to sprout. And you're going to let them continue to grow over 7 days. And then you're going to consume them for green leafy sprouts. 3 days. I'm going to go through all this. 3 days for a legume sprout. So what goes on there during those first 7 days? In water, the seed has everything it needs to germinate except the water. It has all of the nutrition right within that little packet. And it's a pure miracle. You have to realize the first few days that a seed is germinating, there are no roots. Right? There are no roots to take nutrients from the soil. It relies on itself. And seeds are actually alive. They're just waiting for that nutrition to be activated so that it can begin to grow. So what happens during the first 7 days of a green leafy sprout is the nutrition goes parabolic. And they're the most easiest food to digest and assimilate. So as humans, we take all that in. We're taking this incredible nutrition, high energy, high enzymes from a living food in the purest form in a way that our body can digest and accept those nutrients in. Is that incredible? So we get to benefit. As a matter of fact, Johns Hopkins University saw that broccoli sprouts were helping to fight skin cancer even. Okay? And they actually patented Bronco sprouts because it's so powerful. I don't know how they got away with that, but that's a whole other story. Okay? So powerful in healing the body. And the amazing thing is we're going to teach you how to do it right on your kitchen countertop. Take you seconds. No fancy equipment needed whatsoever. So let me just mention that. No fancy equipment. All you need is a mason jar. Does everybody have a mason jar at home? Well, I think they're giving you one. Take home. And then what I want you to do is I want you guys to start passing this around. Are you doing that yet? And I want you to cut yourself a piece of screen. may I use yours for example? About this size to go over the lid. I bought this at Home Depot. Whole roll of screen. Now, what we're showing you is you don't need any fancy equipment. You just need something with holes in it. You can use cheesecloth, whatever. We do, and I do use the sprouting lids. And we do have these at our booth, and I have some up here, okay? So I've had these, offering them for less than they sell them on Amazon, because I just want you to have them. So the idea is you just need something with holes. So please pass the screen around, and everybody cut yourself a piece. And then I gave you some rubber bands I just collected in my kitchen. There will be people that teach you, you need all kinds of fancy equipment, and you need all this expensive this and that. And then it becomes so prohibitive to try to do this, and it's so complicated that you won't do something that's so simple and so powerful for your health. What I like to teach is that the solutions to be happy and healthy are simple. And it's all based on coming back to the rhythms of Mother Nature and eating real food in the highest quality possible that's grown naturally. But it needs to be available to you, and the sprouts are available. So that's actually a picture, but this is what it's going to look like. Now, they gave you a small jar. They're supposed to have a bigger jar, but we'll just do it with how we want to do this. So you can grow in your mason jar, you can sprout legumes or green leafy vegetables. Very simple. So you do need organic sprouting seeds. And as a matter of fact, we are going to, since you have a smaller jar than mine, you normally put 2 tablespoons in here. We're going to also have you pass around. These are just, these are actually old seeds we're just going to kind of like throw away. We're just going to practice today. I want everyone to take 1 tablespoon of seeds and put it in your jar as you pass that around. In a jar this size, you're going to use 2 tablespoons, but I'm going to go through all of that. But you need organic sprouting seeds. Don't just buy any old seeds, because sometimes they're irradiated or other things heated in some way. We want good organic sprouting seeds, and you can find them online. This is actually donated to you today. Mountain Rose Herbs, leafy sprouting seeds, organic. I also order from Johnny Select Seeds or High Mowing Seeds or any of this, Seed Saver Exchange. All these different wonderful seed companies will have sprouting seeds. You need a sprouting container. Simple ball mason jar. Why did I say ball mason jar? Because it's made in America, which means there's no lead in the glass. This is important. We're finding that some cheap jars, the glass actually, apologize to anyone out there in the world, comes from China, and there's no regulation, and there can be lead in the glass. Basic ball mason jar is what I suggest. You need filtered or spring water, and you need a little bit of air and time. And this is how we do it. For legumes, and that's like azuki beans, lentils, right? Anything like that that you want to sprout. You're going to actually put a 1/2 cup of seeds in the jar, fill it with water, and let it soak overnight. For your sprouts, and if you guys want to practice this, it's so simple, I just want you to get. You want to take 1 tablespoon of seeds and pass this around and put them in your jar. And then I want you to don't fill your jar with water, because we're just doing an example just to show you how simple this is, and we'll have to keep refilling the water. Just put a little bit of water in your jar and let it sit. So what we do here, you have your mason jar, you put your seeds in. If it's green leafy seeds, it's 2 tablespoons of seeds. If it's lentils or legumes, you put a 1/2 cup. You fill it with water. Do this at night before you go to bed. Let it sit overnight. Which, by the way, I am going to email you all these instructions. Is it possible what?
Let them sit too long.
Okay, you're just going to leave them sit overnight. No, 8-10 hours, roughly. Yeah, no. You can't mess this up. It's so simple. This is so simple. Take all your worry and throw it under. Okay? You take some seeds. I never even count the hours. Okay? Take the seeds in the evening, because you want to start in the evening. It makes it simple. Throw the seeds in the jar, 2 tablespoons. Fill the jar with water. Let it sit on the countertop, room temperature. When you wake up in the morning, that's the purpose of the sprouting lid or the screen with holes. You're going to dump it out. And then you leave it sit at an angle or upside down, as long as you need airflow. All day and twice a day. If it's green leafy sprouts, 7 days. You're going to rinse and drain. Morning, you get up, you brush your teeth, you go downstairs, you drink your water, not your coffee, okay? Drinking your water, put some water in there, let it sit for like a minute, let it soak around, and drain. Evening, when you go to make dinner, put some water in there, let it sit for a minute, and drain. Green leafy sprouts, 2 tablespoons. Fill it with water overnight. Next morning, these are handy, okay? Drain. Make sure the lid's on. Okay? And then twice a day, fill it with water, let it soak for a minute, drain. That's why nice you just leave that lid on. You can put the water right through the lid, drain. Okay, so twice a day for 7 days, except on the last day, skip the last rinse. Because then you'll let the water sort of evaporate a little. You put a regular lid on your mason jar and in the fridge. And you can eat, you'll have an entire jar filled with sprouts at the end of 7 days, like this. Put the lid on, stick it in the fridge. And you can eat them for 5 days.
So you said on the 7th day you don't drain the water out?
No, you drain it every day. Okay. First night, put your seeds in. 2 tablespoons for green leafy, a half a cup for legumes. But I have to clarify something. I'm teaching you both at the same time. Next morning, drain. Leave it sit. Evening, fill it with water, let it sit for a minute, drain. Okay? Next morning, fill it with water, sit for a minute, drain. Okay? At the end of 7 days for green leafy, don't rinse the evening of the 7th day. Let it dry out during the day. Put the lid on in the fridge. For legumes, it's only for 3 days. And here's what's going on. Green leafy sprouts are starting to sprout, and then the root starts to form, and that's all edible, and it's amazing. And it's during those first 7 days, it doesn't need soil. It doesn't need nutrients from the soil. It has everything inside of itself. It's a miracle of Mother Nature. Legumes, during the first 3 days, it's actually the soft little tail root is going to start to form. If you soak it past the 3 days, it'll start to get the stem and the leaf, and that's not easy to chew and digest. But again, during those first 3 days is when the nutrition is fantastic for you. Okay? Well, when you put the lid on, well, again, the last day, the evening rinse I don't do. I let it just because you don't want it too moist and get slimy. So it just dries out a little bit. It's still a little bit moist. With the whole lid on, it won't dry out. If you put the lid with the holes on it, it would dry out in the fridge. Too dry. Okay? Now here's what's going on. We're also just putting it on our kitchen countertop in indirect light. You never put it in direct sunlight. What is one of the biggest fears of people when they grow sprouts? Like, oh, what if they go moldy? You will never go moldy if you have normal room temperature, 65 to 75 degrees. Little bit of gentle airflow if you have a ceiling fan. If not, if your window's cracked open, whatever. Normal airflow, just not a stagnant environment. And you do not put it in the sunlight. You will never have an issue with your sprouts. If you put this jar in the sunlight on the windowsill, it gets hot in there like a greenhouse. Too hot. And then you can have mold start to form. So everybody, You put your tablespoon of seeds in. The jar's small, so you probably do that. Put water, put your lid on, pretend you sat overnight, and it's the next morning, dump them out. Don't worry about these seeds. These are just junky seeds anyway. We're going to give you nice seeds to take home with you. Okay, so if everyone wants to try that, and actually you do want to dump out these seeds. These seeds are like 4 or 5 years old. We just got old seeds from the farm. Okay, put water in. Just practice doing that. That's what we want you to do. And they'll stay 5 days in the fridge unless you use a green bag. Green bag has oya, which is a natural substance that keeps the greens fresher, longer. Okay, so simple. Do you see that? It takes you 30 seconds. Every morning, rinse, put water in there, shake it around for a minute, drain. Evening, rinse, drain. Morning, rinse, drain. Can you handle that? You cannot go wrong. And you end up with this, which is like powerful nutrition. Now, if you want to get a little bit fancier, in the sprouts, there's still the hulls of the seeds in there, and they're edible, they're fine. It won't hurt you. But something like this, if you do change the size of the hole as you're rinsing, then the hulls will eventually come out. You need little holes at first until the sprout starts to grow. So that is something if you ever want to consider. And then also these larger holes are great for soaking legumes where the seeds are bigger. Or if anyone's familiar with raw foods, one of the concepts is to soak your raw nuts to release enzyme inhibitors. Or if you want to make almond milk, you soak your almonds overnight. This is a good one, because of the big holes and it comes out. Okay? Simple. Grow them on your countertop. I want everyone to go home with seeds. So pretend you have them, dump them out. There are paper towels around that before you leave, I want you to dump out those seeds, dry your jar, and take with you some of these seeds donated from Mountain Rose Herbs. And tonight, or once you get home, what are you going to do? The night before you go to bed, you're going to fill the jar with water. The next morning, dump it out. And every day, twice a day, morning, you're going to rinse and drain. Yes? One tablespoon, I'm imagining that jar. The Mother Earth News provided those jars, and they got the wrong size. Yeah. But so I would put 1 tablespoon in this jar. 2 tablespoons in a quart jar. Yes, absolutely. I'm glad that you asked to clarify that. They're coming. Paper towels. Oh, here. There's some here. Sprout. This is simpler, less expensive. Remember I said there are people out there that are going to try to sell you all kinds of fancy contraptions? Mason jar, some kind of lid or screen or cheesecloth with holes. It's all you need. That's my idea. I want this to be basic and simple and not cost prohibitive because this is going to heal your body. This is going to give you energy. This is going to give you vitality. Yes?
How much each day do you need to eat? Do you put it in salad? I know you
Oh, what to do with the sprouts?
Yeah, and how much?
Oh, yes, anything you want. Put them on a salad, put them in a wrap, put them on a sandwich. You have a cooked meal, right? Throw some on top. Give it color, vitality, taste, texture. What I'm selling at our booth is a jar with one of the sprouting lids, and inside are 2 tablespoons of seeds. It's a mixture of broccoli, radish, and alfalfa, all organic. And these jars with the sprouting lid, with this green sprouting lid, all you have to do is add water, and you've got yourself sprouts. And the instructions are inside too with a little paper. So if anybody wants a little gift for someone or something just so simple to help them to get the most powerful nutrition, please consider that. It's dirt cheap to just do that and simple. Okay? So put them on anything. Anything you're eating. Everything you're eating. Okay? Excellent. So, anybody here ever hear wheatgrass? Anybody ever do wheatgrass? That's hardcore. Okay. Excellent. You're going excellent. Okay, so this is a little bit advanced, and then we're going to get back to something simple. Wheatgrass is something that's extremely alkalizing for your body, very detoxifying, very healing at deep, deep levels. When we're dealing with someone with a very advanced illness, like maybe terminal cancer or something like that, we do get them, by the way, on a plant-only diet for a while. High raw, as much raw as possible, and fresh juicing. And one of the things you do with wheatgrass is you juice it. You don't eat it, you juice it. And one of the key concepts here is we want the pH of your body to be alkaline. Everything we do in our society often has our pH of our body be acidic, and your body will always work to be alkaline, slightly alkaline. 7.3 to 7.5 on a scale from 0 to 14. So your body's always working to be alkaline. And some of the experts say that if your body is alkaline easily on a regular basis, you have less likelihood of having disease. One of the most alkaline foods is wheatgrass. And it's very detoxifying and therefore very healing for your body. So at Hippocrates Health Institute, which I mentioned, by the way, too, because on our website, it's sonofview.com, for if you're interested in becoming a premium member, we have all kinds of educational videos. I'm giving you the Triumphant Life introductory course for free if you sign my mailing list. But we do have all kinds of educational videos. And one of them is from Brian Hetrick, who is the greenhouse manager of Hippocrates Health Institute, teaching you how to grow sprouts and wheatgrass. Okay, in great detail. He is actually who trained me, and now I'm sharing information with you. But there's a video of him. They actually let us go in and videotape him teaching me the class on this. So it is amazing, amazing. So at Hippocrates, not only do they feed you 3/4 of your meal is fresh sprouts from their buffet, but they also have you drink wheatgrass every morning. And so if you've never had wheatgrass, it can be really rough. I mean, it is strong tasting and so forth. But if you grow it right, which we'll have to share some notes, there's secrets to growing it that it makes it really delicious and a little bit sweeter. And I'm going to share those secrets with you today. But in this situation, we're actually going to grow it in soil, where the sprouts that we just did are grown hydroponically, because it can't get any nutrients. The seeds can't get any nutrients from the soil yet in those first 3 to 7 days, right? Because the roots are not developed. It has all the nutrition in the seed. But with wheatgrass, we're going to first sprout it, start soaking it hydroponically, and then plant it in the soil, because we want to grow that for about 10 days. So what we do is the exact same thing. We put organic, red hard winter wheat in a ball mason jar. What do you know? Okay? You fill it with water. You let it sit overnight. Does that sound familiar? The next morning, guess what you do? Drain it. At dinner, fill it with water, drain. Next morning, fill it with water, drain. Does that sound familiar? Okay? Same thing for 3 days, basically. And it should start to get, these kind of got wild on me a little bit longer than they should have, because I was trying to prepare for today. See how the tails are getting kind of long? But as soon as it starts getting the little nub, the little tail is starting to come out of the red hard winter wheat, it's time to plant in soil. Okay? Then what you're going to do, and I have this up here, so anybody who wants to come and do hands-on and try, we can't do it for everyone out there, but people that want to come up and try this, we're going to do it later. We're going to take these seeds. The soil should be moist, but we'll make a real mess in here. Okay, the soil's always moist. And we're going to cover, okay, we always use organic soil. Did I suddenly get loud behind myself? Okay, I'm in front of my own speaker. Let me tell you, this microphone's dangerous. I put it on because they wanted me to try it before, but I realized I needed to use the restroom before. And I went in there and I thought, oh, I better make sure that's turned off. Then also, when I came out, this way the string is back here, and had my skirt pulled up. I'm like, this microphone is getting me in big trouble today. So anyway, I hope I'm not flashing you. Maybe some of you wish I was. Anyway, I won't turn around so we don't do that. Okay, so you get an open tray. One of these open trays, we just have old stuff we brought from the farm here. And it should be clean. Okay, all your jars, all your material, right, should be clean. And as a matter of fact, if you've done any canning, you sterilize your jars before you use it. You can also clean all of these things with grapefruit seed extract. diluted in water, and that'll kill any germs. I've also known people to use like food grade hydrogen peroxide to make sure their trays are clean. Just make sure things are clean and sterile before you start. But then you get a good organic potting soil. You can mix it yourself or just buy some good soil, and you want to fill the tray. And again, the soil should be moist when you start planting, just like you're going to plant, you know, a little seedling. And then we're going to spread the seeds on top. And whoever wants to come learn this, we're going to come on up front and do this. So we're going to take these seeds that we just sprouted and spread them on top. And, okay, so the amounts are important here, which are in your instructions. So in each jar, you put 1 cup of seeds. 2 jars make a tray that's 10 by 20. 1 jar will do a tray that's 10 by 10. So you have to start 2 jars if you're doing a tray this size, which is a typical size for wheatgrass. Okay? Oh, thank you. I'm getting dangerous flying around with that. So you fill that up about 3/4 with organic soil, moisten the soil, and then I spread the seeds on top. Oh man, these are really, these seeds have kind of been through, yeah. So these seeds shouldn't be quite this grim. Okay, and you're going to spread them evenly on top. And normally it just has a little nub, they pour right out. They pour right out and go all over the soil. And you kind of want to even it out. Take the time to do a nice job. You know, make sure your soil's even. Pat it down the soil a little bit. I often will take the bottom of another clean tray and kind of press it down. Okay? And then spread the seeds on. And then you're going to water. And this is how I like to water, actually. I actually take a sprouting lid. And when I water through it, because it disperses the water nicely, and I don't like knock the seeds all out, okay? So take your sprouting lid, and you're going to water the wheatgrass. So for 2 times a day for 10 days. But at first, we're going to water that. You want to water it really well the first time. Like I would use a couple cups of water and really get a nice good soaking the first time. And then once you have it all ready to go, you're going to cover it like this with another empty tray. And twice a day, you're going to water your wheatgrass. You take the lid off, water, put the tray back on. And each day you're going to check it. And once it starts to come up, the grass starts to come up, then you can take the tray off and let it grow, again, in direct sunlight, on your kitchen countertop or on a shelf somewhere, and continue to water it twice a day for 10 days. A couple secrets that we have at our farm. We've been told we have the best tasting wheatgrass. I bet yours is awesome too, I can tell. You know what you're doing. I think part of it is because we are watering our stuff at our farm with filtered spring water. We're very fortunate to have spring water at the farm. Okay, so really good quality water. Get the best quality water you can to water to sprout your sprouts and grow your wheatgrass. But there's another little secret. If we leave this lid on just maybe 1 more day than we should, because it's growing in dark environment, it develops more sugars. And it gives it a sweeter, better taste. If you've ever had wheatgrass that's really bitter, it's just not being grown well. Does that sound, do you do something similar? I only do about another day past when I should, because you do eventually want it to get that light and develop the chlorophyll.
But about 3 days and then indirect light.
Indirect, never in the direct light. Okay, and there's also something important. Have you ever heard of like wheatgrass getting moldy? This is what it looks like, by the way. You must have airflow. I highly recommend for your wheatgrass, your microgreens also, which we're going to talk about next. I have no idea what time it is. Get a fan in the room and have it blow in the direction, because the airflow will keep it from getting moldy and nice. Now, at the end of 10 days, this might be getting a little bit past its due. When it starts getting the second growth, that's called the jointing stage, and that's when you want to cut it. That's also the secret of good tasting wheatgrass, because you want to clip it at the right time. If you let it keep growing, it's going to get bitter. So at the jointing stage, which I don't think this is a good example, this one's been a little bit overdone, a little bit past it. See this little growth coming here? When it's starting to get the second growth, get your scissors and cut it, put it in a bag, and put it in the fridge. And again, this is something you juice. So this might not be appeal to all of you. And this is advanced. This is kind of advanced concept doing wheatgrass. But it might be something if you just want to put yourself on like a really healthy diet and kind of encourage your body to detox even further. Grow some wheatgrass and juice it for a week or two and give your body a little boost. I was working with a woman, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she came to me, and we got her on a plant-only diet. I got her eating healthy, but I taught her about wheatgrass and juicing wheatgrass, and when she first did it, she got nauseous. Very nauseous. Like, she was at my office, and she was like, whoa. And so her body was detoxing very fast. But now she does it every day, fine, and she completely resolved her cancer, by the way, by eating healthy, living healthy, mind and body wellness all together, and juicing the wheatgrass, okay? So, but at first she got nauseous, but now she can do it every day. Once her body got through that detox, she can do it wonderfully, okay? So, wheatgrass, and the same way you're gonna grow buckwheat, sunflower sprouts, and pea shoots. So, pea shoots. Has anyone ever had pea shoots? They are just amazing, aren't they? You munch on those, it's like eating candy. They're so delicious and so good for you. And you're getting even sources of protein and nutrients that are incredible. Same way. You soak them overnight, the seeds in the jar, rinse them for 3 days, put them in soil. You're going to get better nutrition growing that way because you're growing longer than the 3 to 7 days. You're going to grow for 10 days. And you clip those pea shoots, and oh my gosh, they're amazing. Okay, what time is it? Am I already off time?
Could you pass those seeds around?
Let me just cover microgreens real quickly, and then we're going to play around with more.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I thought we were passing the seeds around too.
Yes, we are passing seeds. I'm sorry. Or before you leave, everybody come up and get a tablespoon or two in your jar and take them home with you. Yeah. Is that it? That was the question?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
You can, after you clip, you probably should clip the whole thing at one time.
The whole
It'll
thing.
regrow, but it won't be nearly as nutritious.
And not, it doesn't taste as good the second time. It will grow a second time, but it's not as good. But if you want to do it, I like to juice my wheatgrass, especially for somebody trying it for the first time, with lemon and apple.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you're doing that second cutting and it's a little bit bitter, then that's something to consider adding a little bit of lemon apple to it to make it taste better. Okay, fresh organic seeds, clean containers, maintain room temperature, 65 to 75. Monitor humidity too. You shouldn't have any more than 50% humidity in the room for any of these growing. And keep airflow. And you will have success. I hope you're not overwhelmed. I know that wheatgrass is a little bit more advanced, but it's simple. Same way to grow sunflower, pea shoots. Excellent. Final thing, and you got it all now, but this is really simple. This is the simplest, is microgreens. Anybody ever have microgreens? You'll go to some of the most elegant restaurants and pay a fortune for microgreens on your plate. Well, they are 4 to 40 times more nutritious also than the grown plant. Amazing. And guess what? You grow them anytime you want in a year. As a matter of fact, we're going to just start grow microgreens for winter production for Seven Springs here. The chefs of Seven Springs are like waiting for us to get more microgreening, for us to grow more microgreens for them, okay? But this is super simple. Here, now because we are a commercial production farm, small but commercial, we found that we like to use trays like this for microgreens because we actually deliver the tray to the chef. And they like to be able to clip along these rows. And they clip them fresh and serve them fresh to their clients. Instead of clipping them in advance and they go in a clamshell or a bag and then they get slimy if they don't use them fast enough. They're cutting fresh produce, like right from their own little garden. We deliver the tray. Next week when we go to deliver a new tray, we take the old tray back and we sterilize them and start again. The idea here is you can use a regular tray just like a wheatgrass tray also. Fill it with organic soil. Oh, I'm sorry.
What's that tray called?
That's all like Vanna. Okay. Fill it with organic soil. moistened. I have no idea what these trays are called.
Starter.
What's that? So for micro, we use it for microgreens. I don't know. They could be used for other things. I don't know. It's not a microgreen. The name is not on the tray. Microgreen tray. Yeah, no, we get a BFG supply here locally to get all of our supplies for the farm, the potting soil and stuff like that. We used to mix our own potting soil until we realized we're so short-staffed already that we didn't need the extra labor of mixing our own soil. But there are some, and I have a couple examples of some local farms that do mix their own soil, and that's amazing and brilliant. We just buy organic potting soil because we just don't have the labor to handle it. But you can use a regular tray like this. This is something that the chefs, we just found our chefs kind of like it. Soil. Okay, so this we're not soaking in a mason jar, the microgreens. Moisten soil. We like to put it in this tray. See how we put the tray in? And I want you guys to come up here and play when you're done. You have time after this talk to play around. We have it filled with soil. Sometimes I like to take another clean tray and just put it on top and kind of press it down. Okay, remember the soil is normally moistened. It's dry here. And then you're going to take seeds. And real gently, just kind of sprinkle them nice and evenly. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we like to just cover that nice and evenly across there. And press again. Either take a tray and press down a little bit, or your nice clean fingers, press it in. And then you're going to water. And then you're going to water twice a day for 10 days. About 10 days. About. Each one's a little bit different, each microgreen. You can water from the bottom. As a matter of fact, watering from the bottom is a very smart thing, especially if you don't want to disturb the seeds. It's just such little seeds. But I like to water either with a spritzing bottle or, again, through a lid. Okay? And so it's up to you. You can get a solid tray underneath and water from the bottom. The thing is the seeds at first are sitting on top of that soil, so you may need to water from the top for a little bit until it starts to take root. Okay? But then they grow, and this is most amazing. And you can do so many things. This is red rainbow radish. This is actually carrot microgreens. This is bull's blood beet. This is something like probably arugula. Oh, there's pea shoots. And this is red amaranth. So this is something like this. It's so much fun to put the color, flavor, and texture on any plate that you're serving and eating at home. And again, 4 to 40 times more nutritious than the grown adult plant.
Do you ever use mats instead of the soil?
You can grow in any medium, soil medium.
Yeah, like mats?
Like a heating mat?
Yeah, like a wool felt mat, a mat.
You would grow other seedlings on those? I have not, but it would work. You grow your microgreens on mats?
No, I'm thinking about it. I grow mine on soil, but I've read about growing them on.
Does the mat give it nutrition?
No.
Okay, I like the soil. I like to keep it with Mother Nature, the way she meant the things to grow. Does that make sense? It's just intuitive to me, right? If we're doing in soil because it is grown for 10 days and the seed will need nutrients from the soil at one point past the 7 days, I like the soil.
So what kind of light
Oh, same thing, okay? Not direct sunlight. You have to be careful if these get too hot. They'll get dried out and burned and kind of like fry on you. So same indirect sunlight basically, but I hesitated because we grow all year. And in the winter, once these things start to grow, we have them under grow lights. But we got the airflow going and it's not too hot, right? The temperature is reasonable, in a controlled environment. You can do heating mats if your room's really cold. Remember, you still want this. Well, the soil should be 75 to 90 degrees, the soil, for that to germinate. Yeah, so it depends on the room temperature and all of that, yeah. But again, you don't get this complicated, right? In your house, this is what I'm talking about. Organic soil, in a tray, moisten the soil, put the seeds on top, pat it down, water. and water twice a day. In your kitchen countertop on a shelf, and you've got amazing nutrition. Keep it simple. Don't try to get too complicated. Okay? That's the whole idea here. Yes? You clip them because you're not going to eat the dirt. No. You clip these off. The microgreens you clip off. The wheatgrass you clip off. Pea shoots you clip. These are actually clipped. Okay. Buckwheat. Oh, no, that's right. Yes, we don't reuse the soil. We dump it into the compost pile. Absolutely. Very good point. Very good point. Okay, I hope you guys aren't overwhelmed. This is simple. And again, that's why we're leaving you with a mason jar. Get yourself some seeds. Get yourself either a sprouting lid or a piece of screen, whatever you need. Keep it simple. Make it available to you. I want you to have the best nutrition at your fingertips. It takes you seconds a day and costs you pennies. No longer do you have an excuse to eating the healthiest food for your body. We have a question over here. Yes, young lady.
Do you put the white parts down? Like there's green and then there's white?
Yes. Clip it close to the soil, and you eat the whole thing. And the sprouts in your mason jar, you can eat the whole thing, seed, hull, and all, if you want.
It's pretty much just something.
Say again?
It pretty much dumps in your mouth.
Exactly. How old are you?
9.
9. She gets it. If she can do it, right? If I can do it, you can do it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready to start giving yourself the best nutrition, high energy food to begin to improve your health, vitality, and your life starting tonight or as soon as you get home, Sunday night? Okay. That's what I want to know. I will see you throughout the weekend. Come to my table 2007. Please sign my mailing list. I'm going to send you instructions, send you videos for free. Keep inspiring you to live your best life. Follow me, Janet McKee fan Facebook page is my new public figure Facebook page because my publisher wants me to do that. And all of my live videos are going to come from there. And we just recorded this live. If anyone wants to come up and play around with these, please do. I'll be here for another half an hour. Thank you all for your time. Woo! Let me turn off the live camera.